I'm embarrassed to say this, but
Hey, lady, are you a woman who loves the Lord and who also enjoys beautiful things? Well, if you are, then you are personally invited to join my exclusive Christian women's group. In this group, we chat about clothes, beauty, home decor, parenting, marriage, cooking, and of course, our Christian walk. It's Christian lifestyle all encompassing. So be sure to join by clicking the link below. I hope to chat with you soon. Now back to our show.
hey, lady, welcome back to your new favorite talk show for Christian women, Grown Lady Chat, with me, your host, Dr. Sherunda Simone. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so very much for being here. You're really going to enjoy this episode because we're going to be talking about 20 things that every woman should know. But here's the thing, I want for you to chime in the comment section as well. So I did not include everything that a woman should know, only 20 things because I want for you to give your input. So make sure you hop into the comments and let me know what piece of advice or what life skill you believe every woman should know. And as always, I have to say welcome back to all of our returning viewers, those who tune in on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and those of you who watch the replay. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Now remember, on Thursdays, Thursdays we are live, meaning you and I can interact in real time, and you guys will share whether via audio or video or both, and that really enhances the live chat. And I enjoy when you ladies are a part of those conversations because it allows us as a community to hear various perspectives, because this is Grown Lady Chat. It's not just Dr. Sherunda talking. So I want for us just to continue the conversation, continue to chat it up in the comments, come on the live episodes, and also don't forget to join my email community. Now it's very simple to join the email community and it's absolutely free. Just for regular membership, just submit your email, the link is down below, and you'll immediately start to receive communication from me. I know that many of you were interested in the GLC Plus Mastermind group I launched earlier this year, and a few of you were on the wait list because I want to keep the cohorts small, because I want that intimate connection with all of the GLC Plus Mastermind participants. That being said, those of you who are interested, I want for you to stay tuned because the next cohort is launching in September 2024. So get ready. All right, we are going to hit the ground running in the last quarter of the year, especially if you are a lady who is about her father's business. Then you're going to want to make sure you get into this mastermind group. I'll have some information about it here on the screen so you can get some more understanding. And then, ladies, who's excited for July of next year? I know I am, because we are having our first in-person conference. So Grown Lady Chat conference here in Southern Georgia. All right, it will be held in Thomasville. Very cute, quaint town. It reminds me of the Gilmore Girls set. All right, so if you like little quaint towns like that, then you're really going to enjoy Thomasville. And the way for you to stay plugged in and not miss anything is to be in the email group. Put it on the calendar. You'll be in Southern Georgia, July 2025. Are you a woman who enjoys beautiful things? 34/5 Lifestyle has lovely, unique accessories for your everyday look and also for those special occasions. Click the link below to check out our latest accessory collection. There are other things that women should know, but these are just 20 things that I pulled out, 20 things that I have been very intentional about making sure that I know and that I'm going to be, teaching my daughters. And of course, it's not just exclusive to women. All right. I know that the vast majority of Grown Lady Chat, it's grown ladies. But really, this information could be for men and women. The first thing that every woman should know, or the first person that every woman should know, is God, right? Having an intimate relationship with the Lord is paramount. It is the foundation of everything else. So you could have your money together, you could have your relationships together, you could have your health together, but yet if your relationship with God is waning or it's not fortified, lady, everything you have built, everything you are building, everything you're working toward will be for nothing. All right. The Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? So let us, as women, just continue to purpose in our hearts to deepen our faith walk, to deepen our relationship with the Lord. The next thing that every woman should know is how to take care of herself. And I'm not talking about just how to survive and live, but self-care. Self-care is not selfish. I know we've heard that so many times, but the reason we hear it often is because it's true. I know as women, we tend to be nurturers and we give, and that's what we enjoy doing. That's what we're called to do. At the same token, it's important for us to take care of ourselves and to make sure that we are filling the cup that we pour from. There are many episodes here on Grown Lady Chat in previous seasons where I talk about various ways that we can truly care for ourselves. Remember, you have to have something to give something. Otherwise, you're going to be giving from a place of depletion, and that is not healthy. I think that it's a conversation that is ongoing, and it should be ongoing in the circles, right? In women's circles, because we definitely know what we are called to do and who we are called to be, but we don't often focus on ways to replenish ourselves. And of course, the Bible is a great place to start when it comes to wisdom and how to truly care for yourself. I know the book of Proverbs is very helpful to me, but there are also things that we can do in our lifestyle to just enhance our lives and just to fill our cups, so that when we do go to serve and care for our loved ones, we're doing it from a place of wholeness, a place of happiness, a place of, mental peace versus being frazzled and distracted and disturbed and stressed out. As women, we do that. We push ourselves and we push and we don't stop to rest. Financial literacy. Ladies, do you know where the money is? Do you know where your assets are? Do you have a budget? Are you aware of the ins and outs of the finances in your home? Now, in my home, my husband and I have set it up where he is the primary financial advisor, right? But that doesn't mean that I am ignorant. No, I know what's happening and I know what his plans are. And so I'm in tune with what's going on. Now, I definitely could do a better job of knowing all the passwords and how to get into different bank accounts. But it's not as though I couldn't find out. It's just that I need to purpose in my heart to find out. So I'm telling you and I'm telling myself, financial literacy is so important, because what you don't want is to be left ignorant of your family finances, and God forbid you need to take charge of that. You're not able to do so because you don't have the knowledge. Something as simple as, a budget or what your family investments are. You should know what's happening. Gone are the days where we are just spending money and hoping that we don't get a bounced check, or we're hoping that we don't get declined at the cash register. Okay, I've been there. It's not pleasant. And so we are smart about it. We know what's happening in our bank account. Now, let me tell you, since I have been married, praise God, some of those concerns, all right, as far as like the checks clearing, I haven't had to deal with those things because, like I said, my husband, he manages the money. However, I remember when I was single and I was just out there, I was making good money. I was a young doctor making good money, but I just wasn't financially savvy. I wasn't following a budget. It was very foolish of me. And so there were many times when I was embarrassed at the checkout. But it wasn't because I didn't have the money. It was because I was not spending my money wisely. So we're not doing that anymore. No, we are women who are financially literate. In doing so, we can actually move with more confidence and more peace of mind and security, because we know what's in our bank account and we know where to find our assets, how to budget, and how to prepare and plan for the future. Do you know how to protect yourself, as in self-defense, against someone who would try to physically attack you? This is something that I've been talking with my husband about. My children are in jiu-jitsu, and as soon as baby girl is old enough, we're going to have her take a few classes as well. Now, for the boys, it's definitely about self-defense and protection, but also for the competition aspect. But for my daughter, it's more so to help with her self-defense and self-protection. Now, that's something that I know that I need to work on. I mean, I'm going to be scrappy. God forbid if anything like that were to happen to me, I'm going to claw and scratch and do whatever I can to, protect myself and save my life. However, having actual skills and know-how in the heat of the moment, that goes so much further. So this is something that I am actively working on. Always have, my mace on me. We live in a fallen world, and yes, we pray, but we also have to use wisdom. We also have to use wisdom. Another thing is even just situational awareness. All right. Sometimes as women, we tend to just, be very carefree, especially on social media. I see so many reels and it's like, the husband and the wife walking together, let's say in the store or in the airport, and the husband has already, spotted certain concern areas, all the exits. He knows, how far it is from the entry point to, the back of the store. Whereas the lady, on the contrary, she's just la 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 la, just kind of like, looking at birds floating in the air, and she's just very, unaware and oblivious to her surroundings. And while it's funny and while most women can relate to that, I think it's also a big red flag, right? And we should, as women, we should have situational awareness. We should know what's going on around us. And a few years ago, my job did a training where they talked and they were telling, everyone, male and female, the importance of being aware of your surroundings. And so they always said, keep your head on a swivel. So instead of just being laser focused with what you're doing in the moment and not paying attention to the environment, no, we should be looking around and taking in, potential threats and concerns so that we can protect ourselves and our children. Especially when I'm out with my kids, I think my situational awareness is heightened because I am caring for them. I am being, on the defense because you can't trust people around. So you have to be the one to care for yourself and care for your children, especially with all these crazy drivers out. So I think that as women, we should purpose in our hearts to learn some form of self-defense. You can even sign up for something at like your local YMCA or through your church. Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is so lacking across the board, male, female, old, young. And as women, because we are heightened in our emotions, just naturally, that's just the way God made us, moving with a better understanding of how we are triggered and how maybe our actions trigger others, I think it's important for us to have that information, because when we make moves, when we say things, when we act without thinking first and paying attention to how it impacts the environment, it can be detrimental. It can also cause a lot of friction. It can cause a lot of stress when it's unnecessary. It can also cause stress within yourself because you continue to put yourself in situations where you are being emotionally abused, where you are being neglected, or where your confidence might be attacked. Nowadays, there are more conversations about it, but still, it's not something that's widespread. And I know for me, the biggest piece of emotional intelligence that has helped me is knowing what triggers me and switching the code, changing the lock so that I am not so easily triggered. Recognizing that the enemy is at work and that he knows my pressure points and he wants to, as much as he can, smash the pressure points, whether it's from friends, family, co-workers, patients. It doesn't matter. Satan knows how to attack. He knows us better than we know ourselves in many circumstances. So because of that, I had to recognize what would trigger me so that I would not fall prey to the schemes of the enemy, right? The Bible tells us that we are not wrestling, we're not warring against flesh and blood, but against spirits of darkness and principalities. So everything is spiritual. Even that annoying coworker, it's spiritual. And if Satan knows that he can press your buttons and you're going to fly off the handle and you're going to compromise your faith, compromise your testimony, compromise your income, then he's going to continue to send that same coworker to press your buttons. So we have to use emotional intelligence to say, no, I see the trigger, I see you, Satan, and I'm not going to fall for it. Many times before I engage in conversations, whether it's with my spouse or a stranger, I will say, Holy Spirit. And I'll just whisper, Holy Spirit. And he and I understand that I am asking specifically for his help in that moment. So whatever it is for you, however you can heighten your understanding of your own emotions and how your actions impact others, that is going to be far-reaching as far as a positive impact in your life. I read a lot of self-help and personal development books, specifically those that are written by women, because I do believe that there is a difference when it comes to the way men can, undergo personal development and growth versus a woman, just because our minds work differently and we have different experiences. And I remember reading or listening to an audiobook where they were talking about the fact that women tend not to negotiate their salaries to their level of expertise, intelligence, intellect, training, and education. And that got me thinking about how important it is for us as women to learn negotiation skills. Very often, the tendency for most women is to lowball themselves, is to accept the first salary offer that's there. And I don't know whether it is something that society teaches us or something we learn at home, or if it's just a self-concept problem, but as women, we need to learn how to confidently and appropriately negotiate things in life. Not just your salary, but even in relationships, because everything in life is a commerce transaction. That leads me to the next life skill that we as women should have. It is knowing what you bring to the table, right? And that's in the same vein of women tending not to place appropriate value for who they are and what they do, because when something comes so easy to us, you don't think of it as important, right? For me, speaking comes very easily. And very often I have to remind myself that not everybody has the gift of gab. Not everyone can take a concept and relay it with enthusiasm and with confidence. Not everybody can communicate effectively in an audience atmosphere. And when I first started my speaking business years ago, I was lowballing my clients. I was definitely speaking for near to nothing when really I should have charged a higher speaking fee. But I didn't, because I figured, well, it comes to me rather easily. And so if I ask for too much, then people are going to say, it's not worth that. But then when I talk to my, counterparts, or when I see what the males in the speaking arena are being paid, I'm like, they're not, any better than I am. They are different from me. They have a different skill set. They bring, their own personality and flair, which is exactly what I'm bringing to the information. But yet they feel very comfortable requesting a certain speaker's fee. But I wasn't doing that. And so I had to remind myself of what I bring to the table. So remind yourself what you bring to the table. Know it with confidence, so that you can show up with 100% authenticity.
Hey lady, are you a woman who loves the Lord and who also enjoys beautiful things? Well, if you are, then you are personally invited to join my exclusive Christian women's group. In this group, we chat about clothes, beauty, home decor, parenting, marriage, cooking, and of course, our Christian walk. It's Christian lifestyle all-encompassing. So be sure to join by clicking the link below. I hope to chat with you soon. Now back to our show.
Do you have a 5-year plan? Yes or no? What about a 10-year plan? Do you have a plan for next week? Ladies, we need to be intentional with how we use our time. Time management is so very important, and the very base of time management is having a plan. Every woman should have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and it's not as though every detail of every day has to be mapped out, but you should have an overarching goal that you're working toward. When you don't have a plan, then you have no direction. When there's no direction, then there is room for error, because Satan is going to find work for idle hands. All right, my grandmother used to always say that the devil finds work for idle hands. We should be asking the Lord to show us, okay, what is the direction my life should be taking? And yes, maybe you have your degrees and you have your family and you have your business, you have your career. Whatever it is, you've already achieved quite a bit in life, but there's still more for you to do. And so we have to be about our Father's business. I'm embarrassed to say this, but a few years ago, I was working in a practice. And when I went out on maternity leave, I was taken off of the insurance and I was stripped of all of my benefits. And I was pretty much temporarily fired in that time. And I did not exercise my legal rights. I did not know my legal rights. Instead, I was just so fearful that I wouldn't be able to return to the job that I just allowed the job to take advantage of me, pretty much, the leadership in that office. And so as women, we have got to know our legal rights. People will try to take advantage of you, right? They're going to try and take advantage of your kindness, your ignorance, your weakness. And so in order for us to combat that, we have to know what our legal rights are. Now, if you don't have a personal attorney, you should have a personal attorney, because everybody else you're working with, they have an attorney, which means that if you don't have an attorney and a situation does arise, you're using the other person's attorney, and that attorney is going to be working for the opposite party, okay? They're working for their best interest, as they should, because they're the attorney. So if you don't have a personal attorney, you need to have one first and foremost, and you need to be abreast of your personal rights. Do you know CPR? Do you know first aid? Do you know how to adequately perform the Heimlich maneuver? Ladies, I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. You should know basic first aid skills. There might be a time when you are called upon to act in an emergency situation, and while you don't have to have a medical degree knowledge, you do need to have basic life-saving skills. If you're enjoying today's episode, make sure that you smash the like button and spam the comment section. Don't forget, today's question of the day is, what is one life skill that every woman should have? Drop in the comments below. As we age, our bodies lose collagen. And some of the consequences of that loss of collagen is, of course, saggy skin, loss of muscle tone, loss of tendon and ligament strength, as well as brittle bones. So we need to, as we age, we need to be very aware of health and fitness, and that's something that I have begun to be more intentional about, especially since I turned 40 a couple of years ago. I noticed a drastic difference in my body, and so I said, okay, well, I know that God provided wisdom, so I'm going to do the work. I'm going to, make sure that I ask the questions. I'm going to seek professional help. I've seen a functional medicine specialist, I have a nutritionist, and of course I have my primary care provider, and I'm trying to gather all the information I can. I'm reading books. I'm trying to understand what my body is going through at this new decade. Ladies, that's called wisdom. All right, we know that aging is a part of life, and we are blessed to actually age, because unfortunately some people don't have the blessing of growing old. But as we grow old, we don't want to fall apart. That's not the way God designed it. You don't have to be brittle and broken down as you age. But that does mean that we have to be intentional. We do have to take precautions. We do have to, in some instances, take supplements, get special help, talk to specialists. Knowing about your body, knowing about the decade you're in and what your body might be experiencing, that is key. For me, it is in the form of hormone regulation. I feel like I talk about this all the time because it's so important. And so many women, we just don't know. We don't even know to ask. Our mothers don't know. Our grandmothers didn't know. And so we just kind of blindly go. But ladies, there is a better way. The good thing about the internet is that it's full of information, which can also be the bad thing about the internet. But if you use wisdom and you ask Holy Spirit to show you the information that you need to consume and what you need to reject, you can get so much information, so much knowledge on how to care for your body in whatever decade you're living. All right. So again, I'm in my 40s now, so I am very intentional about my hormone regulation, about all natural supplements, because I notice that when I do that, I feel better, I move better, I live better, my mental health is better, and I am closer to my weight loss goal. Are you a woman who enjoys beautiful things? 34/5 Lifestyle has lovely, unique accessories for your everyday look and also for those special occasions. Click the link below to check out our latest accessory collection. Stress management. Stress management. Stress management. Need I say more? Ladies, we've got to find out ways that we can mitigate our stress in life. Life is going to have its ups and downs. Life is going to have its ebb and flow. We cannot avoid that, but we can find ways to lessen our stress. One of the main ways that I have found is to make sure that I have my cortisol levels managed. I take supplements because my body was not regulating my cortisol properly on its own. I found that out by talking to a functional medicine specialist and taking a few tests. And these were tests that my primary care provider didn't take because that's just not in, primary care purview. So sometimes it means that you're going to have to talk to a specific specialist like I've talked about before. And in doing so, I realized that when my cortisol levels are better managed, when I'm taking my supplements, I'm getting my sleep, I'm staying hydrated, I'm, engaging in cardio activity, stress management is much better. So I'm able to weather the storms of life without flying off, losing it all, crying all day. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm always in perfect harmony, but I do notice that I can better manage my stress when my insides are better managed, right? Also, too, stress management means taking time for yourself, prioritizing rest, and surrounding yourself with people who are going to uplift you, challenge you in a good way, who are going to constructively criticize you, not just criticize you, but truly have a heart of love behind it. Stress management also means that you're not saying yes to everything, right? Remember, not everything is essential. Read the book Essentialism. Thank me later. It means that you are wise with, what you sow into. You're wise with your resources, and that yes, your goal should be to, make others around you happy, but it should not be at the expense of your Christianity or your mental health. A perk of social media is the fact that we are more aware now of some of the craziness and the safety concerns around us. Maybe we weren't aware of them before. Maybe some of them didn't even exist. But the Bible tells us that as time moves on, people are going to become more and more evil and wicked. So as women, we definitely need to have a knowledge of safety tips. Safety tips specifically when we're traveling. I had time management pulled out as a separate or its own separate life skill. And so I'm just going to reiterate that again. I know I touched upon it just here a moment ago, but time management is important. Being intentional with your day, having a plan. I have a daily planner that I fill out about 90 to 95% of the time, but you just don't want to begin your day without knowing what's going to happen, because that means that your day is a vacuum and anything can get filled into it, and that's going to decrease your productivity. So while we do have to be flexible, we should also have some kind of direction so that we know at least where our day is trending, so that if we need to course correct, we still can get things done. But if you have no plan, then trust me, your day will be bombarded and shifted and changed, and you'll be pulled and tugged in whatever way, and you won't get anything done. Or if you do get things done, it's going to be extremely stressful because you didn't have a game plan. You don't have to say yes to everything. Sometimes you do have to say no, or not right now, or this isn't the right season, and it's okay, and we shouldn't feel guilty about it. So yes, we have obligation to the Lord, obligation to our spouse, our children, our jobs, our friends, and ourselves. We have all of those obligations, but that doesn't mean that you have to say yes to every single thing. We have got to be very good with prioritizing. Some things have to take precedence. In the medical field, we call it triaging. So if two patients come in and one has a life-threatening presentation and the other has a chronic illness, meaning they've been dealing with it for a long time, then all of the attention goes to the life-threatening acute crisis. And then once we've taken care of the acute crisis, then we go to the chronic presentation. It's the same thing in your life. If there are things that are pressing that need to be done right here, right now, we should prioritize. We should make them more important and put our intention toward those things, and then we can deal with the less acute situations. And this is not a life skill that everybody has just straight out the gate. Some of us have to work at it more intentionally, because sometimes it's easier to deal with the chronic, less important things because they're easier. They don't take as much out of us. But you might have this crisis happening over here that needs your attention, but you're running away from it because you don't want to deal with it. No, we've got to use wisdom and prioritize what needs to happen first, second, third, and so forth. I remember being so proud of myself when I bought my first toolkit, and I still have it. It has, I think, like a hammer. It has a few screwdrivers, a wrench. I remember when I was single, living in Miami, I was in an apartment complex. So really, I mean, if something broke, the landlord would fix it. But I remember thinking to myself, okay, my daddy's not here, my brother's not here, I'm single. So if something were to need mending or fixing, it's me. Now, I still believe that every woman should have her own, set of tools that she knows where they are, because if you're in a family setting, you know that things can grow legs and walk away. So I still have my own little tools that I know where they are, and I make sure that they're accounted for at all times. In keeping with that, I think that we should know how to do basic things around the home. Even if you're married, right? Maybe hubby's busy, maybe he's out of town, maybe you want it done more quickly than he can do it. So you should know how to do those little things. And with YouTube especially, and Google, lady, you can figure it out, all right? You're intelligent. Does that mean that we don't still ask hubby? No. Does that mean that we don't still ask our daddies? No. It just means that you can do it if you had to. So many women struggle with this, asking for help. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. I don't know how many times I have found myself pushing through a problem, pushing through a situation, and I'm like, why are you doing this by yourself? Why haven't you asked for help? I don't know how many times my husband has stopped me and he's like, why are you trying to do this all alone? You can ask for help. So I'm reminding you and I'm reminding myself, ladies, we should know how to ask for help. We should feel confident in asking for help. And let's say you're like, well, I don't want to bother people. I don't want people to think I'm a burden. Okay, my hand is up. Yes, because I've felt that. And so that has deterred me many times from asking for help. But at the same token, those same people who you are not wanting to ask for help, they have no problem asking you for help. Okay, so who is the foolish one? You're the foolish one. I'm the foolish one. Let's ask for help when we need it. And don't feel ashamed. Don't feel guilty asking for help. Now, let's say your worst fear is realized and the person you ask for help, they don't want to help you, or they brush you off, or they're rude or dismissive. Well, now you know. Now you can move with more wisdom in the future, because they will come back to ask for help. And I'm not saying you're supposed to have an ugly heart and, tit for tat, but you should use wisdom. Because remember, I said earlier that all relationships are transactional. Okay? That does not mean that you only do for people when they do for you. I'm not saying that. I am saying, though, that you can now move with more wisdom. So instead of always dropping things when your one specific friend calls or your one family member calls, you just drop everything no matter what because you're so loyal. Maybe it means that your time would be better managed if you said, you know what, not now. Because you know that if you don't do what you need to do in that season, and if you were to ask that same person for help, they will not say yes. They might not come and help you out. So you can move with more wisdom. So it's not saying that you can't help people who don't help you. It's just that you are going to move with intention. You're going to think about, is this essential right now? And if my help is going to mess me up, if me helping is going to put me out and put a strain on my finances or my family or my health, then it's better if you say, I can't do it right now. Because you know that if the tables were turned, that person would not help you out. Should we then do tit for tat? No, I want to keep on reiterating that because I don't want the soundbite to be, only do for those who do for you. But we have to use wisdom. The Bible tells us clearly, do not cast your pearls to swine. When I was living in Miami, I had my first car that I bought when I was in college, Benji. Benji was this Jeep Cherokee. It was like old school. Was it Cherokee or Laredo? I think it was a Laredo, Jeep Laredo. And it was like this hunter green car with beige leather interior. I loved Benji. I called it Benji because it was short for Benjamin, because it was green like the Benjamins that I paid for it. Anyway, and I loved that car. Oh my gosh. But the brakes failed on me one day when I was driving home from class when I was in med school. And so I had to get a different car. The car that I ended up getting, it was gifted to me from one of my aunts. And so I really had no say so. I needed a car and that's what was gifted to me. I was very grateful, but the car was a manual transmission, so a stick shift. I had never driven a stick shift. I was very good at my automatic though. So I had to, within, I want to say, not even a full 48 hours. Under 48 hours, I had to learn how to drive a stick shift car. And then drive that car to Miami and drive it around Miami. Okay, thank God my mother, my father, and my brother were the biggest help ever. But I do remember just being in a moment of panic, like, oh my goodness, I need this car for Monday. Here I am on a Saturday morning getting the car, and I have to drive from Atlanta back to Miami in this car. So every woman, I think everybody, male and female, you need to know how to drive a stick shift, okay? Because you never know when you're going to be called upon to drive a stick shift. And if you can't, what you going to do? Grab a stranger off the side of the road? I mean, you could do that, but it's not safe, especially right now in this crazy world. So if you do not know already how to drive a stick shift, lady, this is your wake-up call. This is your reminder. This is your nudge to learn ASAP. Let me tell you, life comes at you quickly, okay? I remember when I was in my 20s and 40s seemed like eons away, but yet here I am. Here I am at the big age of 42. Yeah, Social Security here in the US is probably not going to be around or even very helpful by the time most of us need it. So ladies, you need to know what your retirement plan is. You and hubby, if you're married, you need to have that set out. If you're not married, you need to have it set out. If you plan to be married, you still need to set it out because retirement is coming. At some point, we plan on getting out the rat race, right? We plan on being able to just enjoy our, golden years until the Lord comes back or he calls us home. And many people, male and female, they don't have a retirement plan. They are hoping and relying on the government. Not wise. Not wise. In my house, I fill out the majority of paperwork and applications and doctor information for my family, hubby and the kids, right? So we need to know the pertinent details like social security number, all of those things that are necessary to fill out applications. We need to know those things. And I feel as though it should go without saying, but I want to emphasize how important that is because we're constantly going to be filling out paperwork and information. Now, I don't have all of the social security numbers memorized for my immediate family, but I know exactly where they are and I have them on I have hard copies, obviously, in our fireproof safe, but I also have a specific folder in my phone that is under digital key that no one can access. So I at least know where that information is. So it's really important because you don't want to be in a situation where you need the information, you don't have it, you don't know where it is, because that can just be extremely stressful. I like to host events at my house. I have tea parties, I have Christmas parties. So I really enjoy, hosting and all. However, some people don't. And so when you're called upon to come with an entree or a dessert, you are stressed out. You don't know what to do. You get frazzled and you might even cancel because you're like, I don't know what to bring. I believe that every woman should have a signature entree and a signature appetizer and a signature dessert, so that when you are called upon to attend soirees, and if it's like a potluck situation or you're going to a housewarming or like a baby shower or a bridal shower, anything where, it would be nice for you to bring a dish, you have something in your back pocket that you can quickly, easily make. And you know that it tastes good, all right? Now, if you really want to commit to it, you could get a seasonal dish, seasonal entree, seasonal appetizer, and a seasonal dessert. But at the very least, you should have something that you are confident in creating. Now, you might say, okay, that sounds very misogynistic because I'm a woman, I have to cook. No, lady, it's called being prepared, okay? Don't be sensitive, it's called being prepared. I'm going to tell my boys the same thing, that you should know how to do something in the kitchen. I mean, my goodness, right? At some point, let's say in their marriage, their wife is the, dominant one who cooks, but let's say maybe she's not feeling well. Maybe she just had a baby. Maybe you want to give her a break or something. You should at least be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like boil water, do something. So it's not misogynistic. I'm not saying that because we're women, we should have to cook. Because in my home, hubby does 90% of the cooking, all right? But I am saying that when called upon, I know what to do, okay? It's not that I can't cook. It's that he does it because that's one of his love languages, and I'm so grateful to God. Yes, because he does it very well. But when I do have to go to events, I have my little, entree, dessert, appetizer. I have a few because, again, I like to host, but I specifically have my go-to things that I know they are fan favorites. They hit, right? I think that is just called being prepared. All righty, lady, that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas for things that you need to incorporate in your life as far as life hacks and knowledge. Don't forget, question of the day. Drop in the comments and let me know what other advice or life hack you have for us as women. All right. Don't forget, there are new episodes every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until Thursday, remember, I am Dr. Sherunda Simone, and I will either see you at the top or from the top. You decide. Bye.